welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please do subscribe. On this channel, I look at all things spirituality, I read tarot. It is lovely to have you here. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different than I normally do. We're going to look at something topical. So we're going to pull a few cards on what's happening with Drake and Kendrick. This is all alleged, entertainment purposes only. Nothing's facts here, okay? So yeah, if you just want to tune in, and if you like this style of content, please do leave me a comment and let me know. I usually mainly do pick a cards and sometimes zodiac readings, so this is definitely a little bit different. So let's just start by pulling a few cards around the Super Bowl, which was a few days ago, and that energy between Kendrick and Drake. This is immediately coming out reversed. This is coming through as something that was very strategic, which I think watching it, we all know that this was very carefully orchestrated, and that it was a negative judgment on Drake, on Drake's character. It felt like a little bit of attack here. This is something that Kendrick's taken a lot of pleasure in doing. So he's coming through as the Seven of Swords. This is him strategizing. He's really put this together. He has kind of been working on this for a while, so he's maybe just kept it relatively close to his chest here, but certainly it's something that a lot of time and energy and investment has gone into this calling out. I want to have a look at how Drake is feeling about how this has gone down. So he's feeling quite exposed here in a way. And that Kendrick's maybe taken this opportunity, he's run with it. I do think Drake is playing the long game on this. So he is considering ways to get back. He doesn't want his money to be affected by this, but actually, it feels as though the escalation of this between them even though it's affecting the public persona of Drake, in some ways, this will actually bring money towards him. I think there will be people that are supportive of Drake who will stream more, who will support him more intensely because of this. There is a Queen of Cups coming through here as well. So he might be a little bit in his emotions here. Let's draw a few more cards around it. So he really wants to catch Kendrick when he's not expecting it. I think so far the dynamic seems like Kendrick's always one step ahead of Drake. I think Drake doesn't want to respond to this publicly at the moment because there's something here that he is hatching, and I feel like he's going to call on his creative inspiration around this. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something creative come out of this at the moment. Maybe not right away, but it sparked something in him. I think we'll find that maybe he's working on new music as he works through the emotions associated with this. Let's draw a little bit more on how he is feeling, how he's reacted to this. So what's going on with Drake's energy here? There's something here straight out the gate. So he's wanting to make an immediate reaction actually here. So we've got the Knight of Wands. We've got the idea of like work, but it's in the reverse. So he almost wants to react impulsively, even if he isn't. That's like his instinct at this point in time. We've got the Empress here as well. So that's indicative of something maybe he's working on bringing into fruition at the moment. Definitely a creative spark being propelled by what's happened here. There is something, so we keep seeing cards relating to females here. We've seen the Queen of Cups. The Empress is also here. So there is something relating to a woman here that he feels quite defensive about. This woman could be a water sign, so I'm thinking a Pisces, a Scorpio, or a Cancer. So something about this has triggered his feelings around a female too. I don't necessarily know if that's someone that he's romantically involved with at the moment or he's romantically involved with in the past, but there is a woman here, and it's almost like something in association with her is more frustrating to him than Kendrick himself. So Kendrick's coming through here, actually, the King of Swords, indicating Gemini energy, also indicating this kind of way that he wields his words. So the King of Swords is very articulate. The King of Swords can be very cold in some ways, and that's definitely indicated here. So we can see the King of Swords coming out and this kind of defensiveness along with it. So he's absolutely got his eye on Kendrick at the moment. And we see on the base of the deck there as well, we've got this Ace of Swords, again, an indication of wordiness. Kendrick really wields his words like a sword in that way. He's very cutting, and Drake's feeling that energy at the moment, that the astute way in which he handles it, in which Kendrick handles his words. He's feeling the sting of it right now. So there's travel indicated here. That makes sense. Drake is traveling right now. Also a sign that he might want to bring things full circle. He wants to close out this. Something here feels a little bit fishy. So there has been something. Maybe Drake feels that he's been disingenuous in a way. So maybe there's been communication somewhere, not between them directly, between their people, between their representatives. And Drake thought this was kind of a move that was a little bit sneaky, because he does have some context for what Kendrick is doing. They are both in the same industry. They're both well connected. They work with some of the same people. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he knew that there was going to be a performance by him, and he feels almost like this was a low blow to include that song. Yeah, the confirmation on the base of the deck. So he thinks that he took it maybe too far. It was like a cheap shot. Again, we keep seeing this kind of sense of perseverance coming through here. Okay, so this is kind of how he's feeling about it right now. Let's look at the other side. How Kendrick is feeling about the Super Bowl, how he's feeling about Drake. Okay, so dropping cards. So he is really not being willing to bring this back into harmony. He's not wanting to bury the hatchet with Drake at all here. He wants to keep this going. And so we've got death in the reverse. And he's more than happy to keep this going. The temperance upright would be more harmonious energy. Let's see. I get a little bit more on this. Yeah, look, I'll clarify this before I say more. Remember, this is alleged, entertainment purposes only. There are no facts here. There might be things here that he knows about Drake that have been a factor in this and in what's happened at the Super Bowl, what's happened in their like wider beef and their back and forth. It's not just something that they're doing to make money for the PR of it. And I think you can see that from what is actually being said in the lyrics to one another, that it, you know, it's not good for branding. There is something here. I want to say that there has been communication here, directly or indirectly. He feels as though he's put something, like with this performance, he's put something out there now. So he's communicated something to Drake. This is, you know, something that Drake can't really ignore. And he's waiting for a response. So his actions are really motivated by a sense of wanting to start a new conversation with Drake about this. He's kind of waiting. He's waiting for the conversation now. So he, as if he's like expecting either new music or some kind of public shot at him, something that will further this dynamic between them both. So he's put it out there. He knows it was kind of a little toxic. He knows that it was confrontational. It's something that Drake can't necessarily ignore, and that's out there in the ether now. So he's waiting. Drake, Kendrick is in the energy of waiting for a response right now. And yeah, it's just confirmation as well. So he's put the work in. Like he has he's negotiated this move, and he's now waiting to see what comes forward, what Drake's actions are in response. So he's wanting a Six of Swords moment. He wants the progress. It's kind of an indication of the music industry a bit as well. So I definitely think Kendrick has the backing of some big players in the industry. Like he's been allowed to be this cheeky and direct in what he's done publicly. So in a way, you know, that's a lot for Drake to navigate, that these people are, you know, collaborating. I think when we look at the outcome of the Grammys, we can see he has the authority, the backing of that wider industry. So Kendrick's absolutely like feeling fine. He's feeling confident. He's standing behind what he's done. And there's an intent behind it. So it looks like, from how he's feeling, it looks like the intent is to get a response, to get a reaction. Let's look at Kendrick's next move. Next move towards Drake. So he is like in this creative energy still, Kendrick. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more moves from him to kind of reignite this competition that he has with Drake. He could be traveling quite soon as well, or making some sort of gesture intended again to get this kind of response from Drake. Let's see what Drake's next action is. Yeah, he is ready for an argument here, but he's making moves behind the scenes. So he's a Scorpio male. He's not going to drop this. He is carefully working behind the scenes, secretively. Whatever he's doing, he's putting it into motion. He won't necessarily show all of his cards right away, but he's absolutely ready for this. Let's find out a little bit more. He could be calling up people he knows, connections in the industry, friends, maybe other potential collaborators. This conversation's going on. His people, his friends, his network, his connections are talking about this next move. Might not leak to the public just yet. Kendrick might not know what it is just yet, but there is a collaborative energy around this. I mean, he does feel in a way like he might have fallen from grace for this, or he can feel that sense of like imbalance between the two of them now. So he wants to kind of progress things beyond that. He wants to shift what the current energy is of him looking like the loser in this competition, and make that transition to it being kind of a more equal power dynamic between them. Yeah, he's completely dissatisfied with where things are at right now. So what is the actual outcome if he does make these next moves? I think more likely we'll see him produce something creatively that harks to this. So the outcome if he does this. Look, I mean, this could really go either way. I don't know if it's going to be as easy for him to make a comeback if he releases something else, or he comes out publicly and he tries to acknowledge this. There is still this energy of major defeat around him. He does have longevity, though, I will say. Something about his music here that seems to stand the test of time in some ways. Difficult to explain, but there is a longevity. So the music that he makes might appeal for a number of years to those people that are connected in with it. But in terms of how he's performing in this battle with Kendrick, it might not be so great. Why is this? Something that he cannot emulate here. So there's something that Kendrick has that he just can't emulate. I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick does know some things about him, and it does feel then for Drake that he's always like in the submissive position in their beef. Kendrick is also much better at strategizing. There's like genuine talent here. So the way in which he functions as that King of Swords with that Ace of Swords, Like there is a true like talent around him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got some really great, you know, Mercury placements in astrology as well. Something with him is just like on another level, that whenever he comes forward and he performs and he writes, it's just got this like star power over it. Like people respond really well to it. And Drake just can't channel in that same way. And I think people know that. It's as if like some of his success feels like it's a little bit in the past now. That maybe he's like peaked in some ways, and he can't just get the same momentum maybe that Kendrick can, particularly in these kinds of scenarios where it's like raw talent is the determining factor. I think Drake's fine. You put him in a studio and you're trying to make something that can be played repeatedly on the radio, but something that is just so raw and talent based might not just be in his repertoire quite as easily. And maybe this is why you see him like reaching out this network, these friends. Some of them might be much better at what Kendrick does, so you might find someone in there that's like a real lyricist who can put these concepts and these metaphors together in a way that Kendrick does, that Drake just isn't quite able to meet the same standard. So that he's trying to kind of Drake is trying to find this spark again that he has had in the past, just to get himself back in there, to have some sort of response here that's adequate. How's Kendrick feeling going forward? Let's have a look at that. So his energy isn't really being matched in the same way here. It's like the spark is it's coming upside down here. Again, he's coming up 3 of 1, so he's put something out there, and yet it's kind of falling flat. Not that he's falling flat, but the response isn't quite there. So he's kind of fine. He's got this star power. He's rising. He's associated with full energy, which is really kind of Sagittarian. It's adventurous. We again have the Ace of Swords at the base of the deck. So he's abundant. He's flourishing. He really is kind of the moment right now. So people will be paying a lot of attention to him. He doesn't have to go through this kind of perseverance that Drake does. Yeah, Kendrick's really on the up, and it's not looking quite so good for Drake over here. But that is all I have on this for today. If there's anything connected that you'd like an answer to, if you want a bit more information, or if you've got any other readings that you would like me to do around pop culture, please do leave me a comment below and I'll definitely look at those. If you haven't already, subscribe. Thanks so much for joining me.